Mrs. Mpumalanga was so hard. It was so hard, but it was training ground for me because 2 years after Mrs. Mpumalanga, I went for Mrs. Universe Africa, and I used the things that I learned from Mrs. Mpumalanga into Mrs. Universe Africa. Even if it's not a win, there's something to gain out of it. There's something that you can use and to your benefit. I took it upon myself to, just be grateful for the outcome and look at, okay, what is it for me, Mrs. Mpumalanga, that I can use to change my life? I'm telling you, with each and everything that I did, I was sponsored. Wow. Hair, clothing. And now it's got to a point where I had the courage to approach Highfield Mall to help me with an event that I had to do. I did an event at Highfield Mall, something that I never thought I would be able to do, I also asked them to help me get votes. So I then asked, please put my posters in the bathroom so that people know that I exist and I need assistance.
Hi everyone, welcome to Motivation Corner, the biggest podcast in the world. My name is Mpuluke, your host and your favorite content creator. Welcome yet to another beautiful, inspiring episode. And if you're here for the first time, please guys, subscribe and stay and listen to this conversation. If you've been here way before, welcome, and I want to say I love you. And I appreciate you so much. And I know that you take yourself serious because you are here listening to this conversation. So today, guys, I have this beautiful, beautiful woman. I have she's a mother, she's a wife, she is a child of God, she is a beauty queen, she is an author. What am I forgetting? Anyway, whatever I'm forgetting, we'll discuss as time goes on. And today we have Wandile Litheko. Am I saying it right? Yes. Welcome, Wandile.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure for me to be here. I'm so excited.
Yeah, thank you. I can see the smile. I know you are a very busy woman, especially on Saturdays. You are running your modeling agency. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for squeezing us in. I really, really appreciate it.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank
you. And then let's talk about Wandile. Who's Wandile? Where does Wandile come from?
Sure. Wandile is very... this is like a long way to explain myself.
Yeah.
But the most important thing, like you mentioned, I'm a child of God. I love people. I love making an impact in people's lives. I love influencing how people's lives, the direction that it takes and the trajectory of their lives go. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm an entrepreneur. I think that's what you missed.
Yes. I thought I said businesswoman.
I forgot. Well.
It's okay.
And then I come originally from the Val. In a small township called Sebokeng.
Oh.
Yeah, Kengwanyanoko Sebokeng. Yes, I speak Sotho like there's no tomorrow.
Me and you, I'm from Lesotho, so
yes, we sing like crazy.
Yeah,
that's about it about me.
So growing up, what did you want to be?
Sure. I actually didn't know that I would be what I am. I never envisioned myself being an entrepreneur. I never envisioned myself owning a business at all.
Yeah.
Let alone in the modeling space. Yes, I had passion in modeling. I had an interest, in not even the commercial space. Nothing that would put me out there. I never had an interest in that.
Yeah.
I always saw myself as, a typical 9-to-5 girl. You go to work, you come back home, you go about with your life.
Yeah.
And then my life took a different turn. And that came about when I did, I think it started with the program that I did with my pastor. It was a mentorship program for 9 months, where we were basically tackling things like discovering your unique purpose. And I think that actually was instrumental in me doing Mrs. Mpumalanga, because when you get married, you're told that now you're done with being a beauty queen.
You're done with being yourself.
Imagine, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of took a backseat when it came to modeling, pageantry when I got married. And then thankfully, I then met my current pastor, who then mentored me and then helped me to, go back to Wandile, the girl that I, had put behind and forgot about. When you get married and you have children, as women, we tend to forget about ourselves. We tend to forget, what our purpose is, what our passions, what sets us on fire, So she helped me to bring that aspect of my life back, and I did Mrs. Mpumalanga, and that's where I then gave birth to my now Modeling Academy.
Okay. Yeah, because the last time I saw her, like in person, we were going to the same church, and I think you were working at ESCOM. I remember one day you were doing a testimony about work and whatnot. So now I hear you're not even mentioning work. Are you still working?
No. I left that part of my life a long time ago.
Guys, I don't know, it's a sign. How many people I've been interviewing that have left the 9 to 5? What is it? What is the secret, guys, in the other side?
I think it's flexibility of time, and being able to follow what you love, what sets your soul on fire. I keep mentioning that. It's very important for us to pursue those things that, when you think of not waking up in the morning, you're like, nah, I can't. Because it's so fulfilling. It makes you happy. It brings the joy in your life, So, yeah, I also learned that, when you work for someone else, you're making them rich.
Yeah, true. Hey.
Because they have most of your time, right? But when you are working, when you're self-employed and you're pursuing what is important to you, what is a purpose to you, you discover that you are actually, enriching yourself, you're enriching your own life, and with the more you do it, you'll discover that actually there's wealth. After all, yes, we may be pursuing purpose, but when you pursue something and you do it with all of your heart, you then discover that there's also money in it.
And also the scriptures do say that your gifts will open doors and will give you money.
Yes, absolutely. It will open doors and make you sit in the presence of noble people, right? Yeah. So we find ourselves, in those...
in boardrooms you never thought you'd be.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it reminds me, one day I was like sitting alone and I even made a status. I'm like, guys, are we really called to come to this earth, get born, go to school, go get employed, go to work, come back, and then wait for you to die? That's depressing.
Yeah, it is. It is. I've lived that life. I know it. I know it to the T. It's not fulfilling. It's depressing. Sometimes situations happen at work and you're just dreading, going there, facing those people, so I think honestly, if you take the journey of entrepreneurship, if you embark on a journey of entrepreneurship, you'll find that you even discover strengths that you didn't know were there, right? Yeah. You discover qualities in you that were lying dormant. Patience. Exactly. Patience with people, right? Patience with something that you believe this is gonna work, even though it takes years for other people to believe in you. You actually develop that patience, and yeah.
Wow. Guys, let's stop living for the sake. Let's stop existing. Yeah, someone once said it's existing. We are existing. So most of us, because I'm still employed, we have that fear. How did you overcome that fear? Would say, okay, now I know for sure at the end of the month I'll be able to pay my house, I'll be able to pay my car, my school fees. This one I'm not sure if it's gonna go well. So how did you overcome that?
So 2 things. One is the fact that it was serendipity, as they say it, a moment of luck where you are retrenched. It was not even a retrenchment. It was an end of contract with my previous employer, and I believe that was just God thrusting me into the space that I'm in right now.
Rejection is a redirection.
Absolutely. It had been 7 years, working tirelessly and hoping that I'll be seen. And at that time I was also studying. I even got to the point of my MBA, and still no
seen.
Promotion, nothing.
Absorption into permanent.
No.
Yeah.
It didn't happen for me. And I think honestly, this was God in it.
Yeah. No, I believe
because
it too.
Sometimes we get so comfortable with money coming in. Wow, I'm paid really well. The good thing about my previous employer was that I was paid really well, and when the contract ended, it felt like, oh my God, how are we going to survive now? Because we had also moved into a bigger house. Things were looking up for us, my husband and I, and also the children kept increasing, and now suddenly you're coming home with a report that the contract has ended. There's nothing they can do. So the first thing was that it was a moment of luck, honestly, that I was it's not even luck, let me not shortchange this God that I serve.
It was a moment
absolutely
ordained by God.
Yes, destiny defining moment. For me to leave my previous employer and to find myself basically thrust into the space of modeling, the space of entrepreneurship, the space that I didn't even think was possible for me to be in. And secondly, I would say, Shane, my husband, he was so supportive nonetheless.
Say, wow, the husband was so supportive.
Yeah.
Like feeling
it's like no, I think it's where I come from.
The humility
absolutely. I'm coming from a background where my grandmother was self-sufficient. That woman could put food on the table and not wait for her husband to provide. So I grew up with that condition to say you don't wait for your husband to provide for you. I grew up with an understanding that your hands have got power to create wealth.
Proverbs 31.
Absolutely.
You woke up at 4 a.m. Prepare the fields.
Exactly.
Feed your family.
So it was basically those two things. So my husband, I don't think if he wasn't there in my life, I would have been this successful in the pursuit of my business, because he had to carry me a lot. Covering up the things that I used to do, for the well-off of the family, the household, children, and so forth. So I did not say I'm leaving now. No, God is the one who said it's time for you to go and pursue your purpose.
Yeah, I'm interested. You said you went on a 9-month program. What is it about? Where does one get it? Where maybe we can go unleash our potential? Because here you are.
So, unfortunately, she stopped doing it. She had been doing it for so many years, and as a result, there are a lot of women who, are the alumni of her program, and they've done so well. Some are pastors who are really successful. Some are also entrepreneurs like myself. Others have thrived in, podcasting as well. So there are just a number of us who, are testament of the greatness of the program that we attended with her. But unfortunately, she stopped.
But what are the nuggets that you took out of that program?
So first of all, like I mentioned earlier, the first one, it was discovering your unique purpose. I think you also alluded to one of them, unleashing your potential. It was another one that we did. And also, of course, the spiritual part of things, where you learn to even interpret scripture. I remember I had been born again for so long, and I struggled to make sense of the word of God in practical daily living, and honestly, me attending that program helped me to be able to, one, know that I'm not in business just for philanthropy. Yes, it's the other part of it, but I should be able to live out of it, and to know that God has given me power to create wealth. That I learned from scripture. When you grow up as a Christian somebody, and you are thinking that, it's just about going to heaven. It's not just about going to heaven. So that
You're
program,
supposed to live now.
Absolutely, that program helped me to unlock that part of me. That, what, God has actually empowered you to prosper. Being blessed actually means you are empowered to prosper. So I think for me, it helped a lot that it didn't only tackle discovering a unique purpose. There was also the spiritual part of it, which was an anchor for me and helped me to thrive to the person that I am today.
Wow. Yeah. No, she really did an outstanding job, because I can hear from how you speak, you are well, and what you're capable of, and what the Lord has promised you, and you're like, I'm taking it by fire or by force. There's no other way. Let's talk about your modeling career. You entered Mrs. Mpumalanga. Also, I forgot to mention, can we say can we appreciate in that Litheko? Because
absolutely,
I've watched and listened to most women. Some, their husband will be a stumbling block to whatever that makes them happy. They will stop them. But I'm glad to hear that there are men, even in this day and age, who are supportive of who want to see their wives prosper or baba something big, and not being inferior and be like, So also, as we're talking about the journey, how Mrs. Mpumalanga, how was it? I hear it's very hard. One of my kids that I usually mentor, she wanted to go for Miss Mpumalanga, and she said, it's hard there. So how is Mrs. Mpumalanga?
Mrs. Mpumalanga was so hard. It was so hard, but it was training ground for me, because 2 years after Mrs. Mpumalanga, I went for Mrs. Universe Africa, and I used the things that I learned from Mrs. Mpumalanga into Mrs. Universe Africa. And honestly, if I had not done Mrs. Mpumalanga, I don't think I would have done so well in Mrs. Universe Africa. So the trainings, the learnings, the spaces that one gets, exposed to, helps one to, once again, discover the strengths that you didn't know were there. It helps you to build character as well. It helps you to also build compassion for those who are less fortunate. Because now you have a sesh, and when you go out there, you then see that I need to make a difference in my community, and I have the power of the sash. I can knock on doors.
So a sash is very powerful.
It's very powerful. It's one of the things that has actually helped me to be able to build that confidence of knocking on doors and saying, this is who I am, I'm doing this pageant, I'm supposed to make a difference in my community, please support me, please partner with me, can you be able to buy this and that for my community? So it gave me confidence to be able to knock on doors, and just be on some, I'm here, I'm representing my community, please help me to make a difference in their lives. So with Mrs. Mpumalanga, I learned that aspect to say, it's not just about being beautiful. It's not just about knowing how to walk on stage and, being attractive, and you must actually use the power of the sash to knock on doors, to change people's lives. And I think that's what helped me with, I think it was Mrs. Mpumalanga, where I learned from the winner. She I don't think she knows this, but she inspired me a lot.
What did she do?
With everything that she did, like from hair to nails, looking good. She was sponsored, and she would always post that thanks to Mpulukeng, my outfit looks beautiful for this interview that I need to do. Thanks to so-and-so, my lashes. So I learned from her that, okay, I don't have to spend money to look good.
Yeah.
Because I have a sash, across my shoulders. Someone needs to help me. To like push me forward and make sure that I actually succeed in this. So I then implemented what I learned from her in Mrs. Universe Africa. I'm telling you, with each and everything that I did, I was sponsored. Wow. Hair, clothing, and now it's got to a point where I had the courage to approach Highfield Mall to help me with an event that I had to do. I did an event at Highfield Mall, something that I never thought I would be able to do, I also asked them to help me get votes. So I then asked, please put my posters in the bathroom so that people know that I exist and I need assistance. And they did that at no cost, So back in those days, I would go to the bathroom and here's my face. What? So
you have no choice. I'm like, oh, she's so beautiful. Let's for
exactly. Yeah. And then also, I think it inspired other young girls or other ladies after me that, wow, this is possible. We can also do it for ourselves. So it gave me a pat on the shoulder that, girl, you're doing well.
Yeah.
And thanks to, grassroots are very important.
Yeah.
And I'm talking grassroots right now. I'm referring to my journey when I was young, starting in pageantry. I also went to a modeling school.
Wow.
Yes, I did. I did my first pageant. I think I was under 10, very young, in primary school. I keep referring to the story. I won that day. I don't know how I won. But I suppose the judges on that day saw that there's potential. And I never looked back after that day. Wow. So, yeah, it's been, when God just keeps redirecting you to this particular thing, you're like, no, man, I'm married now. It's not about that. Continue. This is your purpose. This is your journey.
You're supposed to do.
Exactly. Girl. And now when I look back, I'm like, thank you, Lord, that I followed, your leading during that time. Yes, it was nice, being on stage, getting dresses, looking beautiful. I mean, girls love attention.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take that away, but it was purpose more than anything. And here I am now.
Which gave birth to Masebotsana Academy.
Yes.
How did you decide?
So once again, Mrs. Mpumalanga was instrumental to me.
Not even Mrs. Universe Africa.
No.
So Mrs. Mpumalanga is big, guys.
Look. So with Mrs. Mpumalanga, yes, I was devastated that I had lost. I thought that was it for me. And then something was like...
But when I look at your post, even though you were runner-up, it did look like you were the winner.
Really?
The way you were so enthusiastic about it.
Yeah. I think I learned that with my journey, my life in general, that, even if it's not a win, there's something to gain out of it.
Yeah.
There's something that you can use and to your benefit. There's something that you can leverage out of that experience. And I took it upon myself to, just be grateful for the outcome and look at, okay, what is it for me, Mrs. Mpumalanga, that I can use to change my life. So I used Mrs. Mpumalanga to establish my academy. How I started was first a pilot. I went to the ladies that I knew had potential. I approached them. I'm like, girl, here's an opportunity. Entries for Mrs. Mpumalanga are open. Are you interested? I can coach you for free. That's how I started.
Oh.
That's exactly how I started. Yeah. And they were like, oh, okay, let's do it. And we did it. I think I started with 3 ladies. And they did so well. I think 2 of them ended in top 5. Wow. Yes. And the other one got a photogenic, sash? And the other one, unfortunately, had to drop out because of finances. Because this journey, Shem, needs you to have a financial muscle.
That's why you
to be able to continue. Knock on those doors, hey?
Yeah.
So she was doing it for the first time. We tried to, help her get through some companies for sponsorships, but unfortunately it didn't happen. So she then had to leave the competition. But the two that we continued with did amazingly well. They thrived, and even after that, they then discovered other things in them, and they flourished. So I was like, no man, there's something in this.
There's something in this because like I follow Boshudu, Zozi.
Sure.
Like there is I remember I once interviewed one girl who was into pageants, and I asked, what is in there? Like guys like where's man. But I see most of the people who join pageants,
they flourish. They do well. They do really well.
What is it that you teach them there at the academy?
A lot, Shame. And more than just how to walk, how to strut, posture, poise. We delve deeper into the person, the inner person, gone are those days where it's just about beauty. There's also parts like intellectual ability, your cognitive ability, your ability to, just not demonstrate physical attributes of yourself well, but also the beauty of your soul. Your compassion for people, also being able to bring a difference, not just to your community, but also into the organization. Let's say, for example, I introduce you into a pageant. You are expected as someone who's going to win to be able to make a difference in the organization. And once again, I learned that from Mrs. Mpumalanga, the winner. Yep. So it happened that
what's her name? I think she did.
Am I allowed to say Roxy van Bruvan? So Roxy briefly gave us her experience back in overseas. I think she worked there for some time as in the PR space, if I'm not mistaken. And she came with an idea to better Mrs. Mpumalanga in terms of its public relations. Wow. I then learned that, okay, I think that's why she also did well with her interview. Because we thought that you must go and sell that, I'm so pretty, no. The judges want to hear what are you going to bring into the table.
The
absolutely. Your intellectual ability, once again, are you strategic? Can you be able to take us from point A to B? Are you able to strategize the organization, make a difference? Can you bring something that we never thought was there? Can you bring a change? Can you bring a transformation? So I learned that from her, and
now you got into your
absolutely.
Now. Do you have boys?
We started with boys. I think
even if I don't want him to walk the ramp, but I just want, because it seems like it's a good character building.
It is. Absolutely, academy. It is. So we started with our first model casting for male models on the 12th of April. That's where we went, ventured into the space of male modeling. No. We still accept. In fact, I think just last week, one of the dads approached me and he was like, my child is only 4 and I see that you start from the age of 6 for boys. Please, can you make an exception? Because he now realizes the importance of you mentioned character building. There's grooming as well.
Very important.
It's not just about knowing how to walk the runway and all of that. There's also another part which is very important and which is very necessary, especially in this day and age where there's so much gender-based violence, there's so much femicide, there's so much domestic violence,
and gender inequality,
absolutely,
where girls are given more attention, supporting the boys.
Absolutely. So all of those things, when we expose our children, boys and girls, to the importance of one knowing that they matter,
Yeah.
that they are valuable, they are significant on the earth. You know, it can help us build a better world. You know, yeah.
Which take us to your book. You are so passionate about this. You even had to give us a guide.
Yes.
If we can't hear you from the podcast, then we must read here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. How did it come about? I've never heard of a pageant book. You are the first one.
There are other, because before you write a book, especially of this kind, you have to do some kind of a research, right, to find out if something like this exists. Yeah, so that's the one. So when I did my research, I discovered that Cindy Nell, who was Miss South Africa back in the day, I can't remember which year.
Yeah. I think the name sounds familiar.
Yes, tall, beautiful lady. She also has a pageant handbook. I don't know what her subtitle is, but she also has something similar. So that's about it, according to my research. And
that's
then
the only one
that's the only one I know of. And how I got to write about the book. So I was with Mrs. Universe Africa a year after I got crowned as first runner-up. I was then contacted to be part of the speakers for Mrs. Universe Africa workshop, right? So in that workshop, I was actually given a topic. They said to me, please speak to the ladies about how to prepare for an interview. So I then went, did my research, compiled data that I was going to share, and I went, I shared. It was virtually, we had done a virtual workshop. I shared it. Afterwards, got a call from one of the coordinators, Basani Malambe. I need to mention her name.
Basani Malambe.
Yes. So Basani was like, my queen. What was that? I'm like, huh? She's like, yo. That was like you wrote, it was like an academic paper. Those were her exact words.
Wow.
She's like, you need to do something about this queen. And those words stuck with me.
Yeah, they always do. Hey?
Right? The words stuck with me, and then I was like, okay. I then started writing about how to prepare for a pageant interview. And then I discovered, no man, there are other things that are missing. And then then the book,
then
I kept writing. Exactly. I kept writing. And then the more I did the research, I then discovered that something that most people never speak about is a legacy project, which is something that is in the book as well. How one should arrive at, coming up with a legacy project. We've got a lot of pageant queens out there who did well during their tenure and so forth, but right now we can't say anything about them. And that's because they never did something that would last,
that will be here for years.
Exactly. So in the book I also speak about how can one come up with a legacy project. So even with my teaching, I always tell my models that you're not there just to get the crown and you're done with it. Find out how you can leave a lasting legacy during your tenure as a title holder. So there are a lot of things that I mention in the book.
Pageant queens, my girls, this is your book, and you can tell from the conversation that I've been having with Wandile that you sure are gonna win. I believe if I was under your arm, I think I would win.
Absolutely.
No, you are good, and you are so passionate about. I love that about it. So someone who is preparing to go, maybe they are about to walk the ramp, or because they're accepted now, they've made it to top 10. What now should they do?
So it's very important for you back to interview preparation. So with interview preparation, it helps you to develop self-awareness. So with self-awareness, you get to know and understand what your weaknesses are, what your strengths are. You get to understand how you relate with people. You get to also understand, what are my goals? What am I here for? What do I want to achieve out of this? So before you go into, the ramp, or before you go into the stage to compete, you need to have done your homework in terms of understanding yourself very well. Introspection, and actually it's not just before you go onto the stage. Building up to you being on stage, you need to have ticked those boxes.
Yeah.
Who is Wandile? What does she want to achieve out of this? And then the most important thing, what is my why in this thing? Am I doing it for the fame? Am I doing it for popularity? Am I doing it to, get the crown and that's it?
Yeah.
Or am I doing this so that I can discover myself more? Am I doing this so that I can challenge myself? Am I doing this so that I can discover my purpose? What can I learn out of this? You may have done a number of pageants and you find that, this was a futile exercise. But I can tell you, with having a different mindset, you can chart a great path for yourself and get a lot of things out of a pageant.
I think, guys, I love the modern age pageantry. It's not just a beauty contest. And the beauty contest.
True.
Now this is a life-changing moment.
Absolutely.
So if you want to go into pageantry, please keep that in mind. It's not just about your beauty. What am I forgetting to ask you? Probably maybe there's something that, in as much as I've asked you to come and you're expecting answers, but there's something that was in your spirit. You'll be like, come what may, I must cough it out. What are your last words?
I think I'd like to encourage boys and girls to get into the pageant space. It helps you a lot to, once again, discover those things that are lying dormant in you. It helps you to know yourself better. Like we've been saying over and over, that gone are the days where it used to be about looking beautiful. Now it sets you so deep, right? It's like your sincerity comes out, your authenticity comes out, whether you like it or not. You can lie to people and say, I'm compassionate about the less fortunate.
It will come out.
You will be found out. So it helps one to build character. It helps one to be able to discover their unique purpose. So parents out there, please get yourself, do yourself a favor and get your child into a pageant, or a modeling school.
Also, I think I read a book by, I forgot the name, but his name is Strauss, the husband to the former Miss World, Rolling Strauss. And he mentioned how they had to prepare for Rolene to win Miss South Africa. On top of that, they had to prepare for her to win Miss World, even before the pageant had started. So the other thing is, you start winning even before you even go for the auditions and everything.
That is so true. Spot on. Super spot on. Because previously, primitively, you would hear about a pageant today, and then on Saturday you're competing. Next week Saturday you're competing. There's no turnaround strategy that you need to come up with there. There's no game plan that you need to come up with there. There's no why that you need to fulfill there. But now things have changed. I can decide that I'm going to do a pageant next year and start preparing now.
Yes.
Exactly.
I think that's what they did. They planned way before we could even go. So everything was just falling into place. It also pageantry teaches planning and organizing. It's very, very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It teaches you how to plan for your life. It teaches you also, body vision boarding.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah.
Knowing that, okay, in this year, these are my goals. These are my short-term goals. These are my goals for the long term. This is where I see myself in the next 3 years or so. So it helps one to open up their eyes to such things, which you're not even taught, boskolo. Liberty, self-love. So I used to say that self-love, self-worth, self-respect, we never learned those things at school.
Or even at home.
even at home, sometimes our parents were not that, capacitated to tell us that, Ngwanaka, it's important for you to love yourself before you expect someone else to love you. Exactly. So you learn those things, go to Modeling Academy.
Yeah.
So, and they are very, very important.
I know we won't end. We are talking the topic close to your heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can talk about it until next week.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Wandi, for coming and honoring the invite. You are a busy woman. You just had to squeeze us in. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed the conversation. You can practice whatever we've spoken about, even if it's not in modeling. These are life-changing. Whatever goal you have for yourself, listen to this conversation and be a better person. From us to you, goodbye until next episode.